Hi everyone, I'm Michelle, one of your customer success managers here in Rounded. Welcome to an in-depth look at one of the most popular features of Rounded, the bank feeds. What is Rounded Bank Feed? This feature lets you see your bank statements from within your Rounded account. The transactions you see are read-only versions of the transactions you see when you log in into your internet banking. Therefore, they are separate from the main data inside your Rounded account. This means bank feed transactions are only included on your dashboard and report figures when they have been added or reconciled as income or expense record. We're often asked about safety. Is it safe to connect my bank account to Rounded? Over the past 6 years, thousands of Rounded users have used the bank feed feature without any security issues. So yes, Rounded bank feeds are secure, and the technical setup works in our favor from a security perspective. For additional context, we use a provider called basic.io, that's BASIQ, to provide our bank feed data. Basic is an Australian company based in Manly, New South Wales. They are part owned by NAB and Westpac. Feel free to check them out via their website, basic.io. When you connect your bank to Rounded, you share your login details with Basic. They keep all credentials in a highly encrypted format and totally separately, which means there's no way anyone can get your bank login details via Rounded, as we don't store them anywhere in our app. What's more, our connection gives us read-only access to data, so there's no way to initiate any bank transfer or payment from within your Rounded account. But of course, nothing is ever 100% safe in technology, but we're very comfortable that the risk is being managed appropriately. How many internet banking accounts can you connect to? You can connect to more than one internet banking account if our provider supports the bank you want to connect to. So let's go through the process to connect a bank account to Rounded. Now, I'm going to share my screen. I'm using my demo account to connect a dummy internet banking account. First, I'll go to the bank feed section by clicking the bank feeds menu link on the left, and you will see all the banks supported by our provider in this selection field. As I've mentioned, I'm connecting a dummy internet banking account, but the process is exactly the same as connecting real bank accounts. Now, I will either scroll to find my bank, or easiest if I type it in this search field. Then I will click on it, and then I'll click the connect button. In this next section, I will enter my internet banking credentials and then click the login button. How long it will be connected differs. It can sometimes take just a few minutes, but sometimes it will be longer. Since I am connecting a dummy account, it will be pretty faster. Once you're logged in, you will see all the bank accounts associated with your internet banking account. You can select all business accounts you want to be displayed in your Rounded account. You will then see all the transactions from the accounts you've chosen. The transactions you will see can range from 3 months worth of data to a year, depending on what the bank allows. I mentioned earlier that transactions would not be automatically reconciled or added to your Rounded account. Let's go to the income and expense pages. Here's the expense page, and here's the income page, and there's nothing there yet, even though we've already connected our bank account to our Rounded account. Of course, it will be the same in the reports. Here's the expense report, and here's the income report, and of course, as well as on your dashboard. You will see that Nothing has been recorded yet. So what's next? Now you can start adding your income and expenses in. It's easiest when you do it via bank feeds. How? When you click Add to Expense or Add to Income, the information on the transaction is transferred to the form. Let's check that out. Let's add an expense first via bank feeds. I'll click Add to Expense, and you can see that most of the information is already there. The description, the amount, and the date. All you have to do is to assign a category and the vendor if you want to. The category lets you group transactions of the same type. For example, card fees, rent, client meals, etc. There's a set of default categories on your rounded account, and you can add or edit them when you need to. So I'll assign a category for this transaction. The expenses in the same category are grouped together in the expense report and the profits and loss. I'll show that in a bit, but for now, we can assign a vendor for this transaction. The vendors are the suppliers where you bought the services or products from. And same with the categories, there's a set of vendors on your rounded account, but you can still add more or edit the existing ones when you need to. So I'll choose the vendor where I bought this service from. As for the description, you can leave it as is, but you can also change and update it. And before you click on Done, you can also attach a receipt right away. Now, we can click on Done. And this transaction will be added to your expense page. Let's go to the expense page, and there you go. So you can see, you can also see the receipt from this section. Now let's compare. Let's add the same expense manually. So the amount is $58. Same date. The category, let's assign the same category, of course. And the vendor. Now type in the name. So you can have the same as the one on your bank feeds or just a short one like computer hardware for the office. Then click on Save. Or you can also attach a receipt here before you click on Save. Right. So as you can see, you will have to enter the amount, the date, assign the category and the vendor, of course, and the description for the expense, as well as attaching the receipt. And as you can see, it's much faster than adding them manually. It's much faster to add them via bank feeds than adding them manually. And what's more, you can actually add expenses in groups via bank feeds. So let's go back to bank feeds, and I will choose a different set of expenses, and then I'll just have to tick on these boxes right beside them. And you can add as many expenses as you want. But I would advise for this to be a real time saver is for you to choose the same type and same type of transactions with the same category and possibly the same vendor. So it will really be a time saver. So I've chosen 23 transactions. And when I click on Add to Expense, I can just enter what type of category this is, possibly where I bought them from, or add where I bought them from. Then click on Create. And as mentioned, I've just added a new vendor to my vendor list. And then you can choose to use the same transaction from the the bank feeds transaction, or you can also enter a new description for each. So each of these 23 transactions will have the same description. For now, I'll choose to use the existing transaction description. Then I'll click on done. And all of these are added to my expenses. So you can see it's all there. And you will also see the same when you go to the reports, expense report. And you can also see that on the dashboard when you click on expenses here, as well as, of course, in this financial section. All right. So the same can be done with income. You can add an income without an invoice or payment against an invoice. Let's go back to the bank feeds first, and let's add one against an invoice. So this one, click add to income. And as you can see, I have one outstanding invoice, and I'll assign this income to this invoice by clicking on it. Then click on the category and choose which type of category is this. So you also have a set of categories for the income, and like in the expense categories, you can add or edit them. Now, as for the description, you can choose to use the same description, but you can also enter a new description for it. So let's say this is a payment for a project. Now, as you can see, there is also an option to send a receipt directly. But if you want to customize the receipt email first, you can also do that when you send the receipt via the invoice. So I'm going to click on done. I'm going to forgo this, then click on done. And this one will be on your income page, as well as in the income report. And same with expenses, you can add income in groups. So at the top are the filters that are very useful. You can choose which account you want to see first. Or here, you can also choose if you just want to check out all unreconciled transactions, even unreconciled credits first, or unreconciled debits, and you will also see, you can also see all the reconciled ones. Here is the date range, and here is the search field if you want to look for the same type of transactions. Now, I'll use this filter and look for unreconciled credits. Then I will choose all the unreconciled ones that I want to add to my rounded account. And same with the expense, this will be a real time saver if you will choose the same type of transaction with possibly the same type of category. Now I click on add to income here, and then choose the category for it. Again, you can use the existing transaction description or have a new description for this one. But I'm going to use the existing one, then click on done. And all of my income is also in my income report. Now it's just on the income page. And if you look at the dashboard and click on both here, you will see how your business is doing with the income graph and the expense graph. And of course, you will see the financial year's income and expenses totals, as well as the taxable income and the tax payable. During the first part of setting up your rounded account, adding data to it will have a likely high volume of data you needed to add. But once you're done with that part, adding transactions on a regular basis should be very quick and easy. And as a reminder, if you have already added an expense or income record or marked on invoices paid from inside the invoice, then adding the same income and expenses via the bank feeds will create duplicate records. Therefore, if you want to use the bank feed, we recommend wherever possible, waiting until you see the relevant transactions appear in the bank feed before you add them so you avoid the duplicates. Watch out for the other webinars to help you maximize your use of Rounded. Thank you for your time, and goodbye for now.